been a minute. It's been a good little minute, I feel like, since I've checked in, probably about for a greater half of the year. I, like the rest of the Saturn Aquarius gang, been going through the last bits of my own personal Saturn return. So I've had to take some time and space, much needed time and some space for myself to kind of regroup and recoup and, you know, really process a lot of stuff, that has happened over the years. One thing that's definitely came to my attention is the fact of coming out of these different 7-year cycles, which for me, a 7-year cycle actually has ended for me. So I'm stepping into a new 7-year cycle, and I'm just trying to treat her different. I'm just trying to treat this whole thing just completely different than how I was coming, in my 20s, going into my 30s now. So, but I just really wanted to talk a little bit about this Saturn season, or you could say our Capricorn and Aquarius season going into the new year, and talking a little bit about the transits and things that are going to be shifting and some of the things that are going to be taking place during this season, and also previously what we've experienced within this year and moving into that. So for those of y'all that don't know, my name is Araneaestorm, aka Crew, your Cosmic Rootwork astrologer specializing in Mars activations as well as North Node and South Node consultations. So if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can hit me up at araneaestorm.wix.com/info. To book a reading, and you can find me on all social media at araneaestorm. I am so surprised that I still remembered that because it's been a minute. But so basically, is there any announcements that I want to make? I don't really have any personal announcements that I want to make. I'm going to be doing a lot of my content this year back and forth between YouTube and TikTok. So a lot of my content will definitely be like maybe monthly check-ins, like the monthly energy of the month, and kind of going into that. And then on TikTok, I'll be having kind of what we've had on this channel for those of y'all that have been following the channel, but then going to like extend in that. And also here too, like I'm not just gonna leave y'all hanging on YouTube and stuff like that, but I'm really trying to juggle a lot of things on my plate. I'm trying to kind of condense the things that have been on my plate, and so things can run a little bit more smooth and steady and things like that. So but I think without further ado, I do want to talk about Saturn. I think I will talk about Saturn and Aquarius a little bit, like for those of us that's actually coming out of our Saturn returns, and then what Saturn and Pisces will mean. So I'll talk about that in a whole nother video, but I just want to really go over, like I said, this Saturnian season have we for real. But before I do get into the transits, I want to acknowledge the fact that Jupiter has moved into Aries, I think as of December 20th, which is a very powerful energy, just period, fire on fire. And I definitely want y'all to kind of look into where this Jupiterian energy is going to be playing out in your chart, and so you know how to wield it during this transit, I think up until March when it moves into Taurus, I think so. Don't check me on it, but for real. So definitely see how that wants to play out for you. Also too, Pluto, that has been in Capricorn since 2008, will be moving into Aquarius this year. And let me tell you, I am so fucking excited for this Pluto energy to move into the sign of Aquarius. It's I've been waiting. What do you say? What Phil Collins say? I can hear it calling in the air tonight. That's how it feels. Oh Lord. That is how the fuck this Pluto transit moving from Capricorn into Aquarius feels personally for me. We've seen everything from the boom of social media. It was crazy because as I was going back on the transits and kind of looking in, we know how we was like, the 99 to the 2000s was like a completely different kind of energy as far as like what we moved into. And we were just talking about like, damn, it's just so crazy how we used to live in a time where all we really had was MapQuest, and we talked on the phone to each other versus doing a whole bunch of texting. I just know for my generation, coming up, and just the people that I grew up with, it's just crazy how vastly we've had like these major social media booms in society. And I know there's other transits that had a lot to do with that, but it was just interesting how like pre-post, I would say pre 2008 to now, how the boom of social media from Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, we had MySpace, but all these different Vine, all these different, YouTube was even booming. I think it was a little bit earlier than 2008, but it still was the boom of technology, and it's interesting how we've had like this I guess when we talk about the platonic energy uh, of Capricorn, or not the plutonic, I mean, it can be a little plutonic, honestly, if you ask me, but the energy, the Saturnian energy of Pluto being in Capricorn, and how the different systems that it rules, the government systems, it's also the second house of the US. So all these different things that it is deemed or ruled as God, if you will, into I don't know, because I've been feeling like Pluto to itself like feels like it's its own god in a way, for sure. Saturnian energy and Platonic energy to me be very like, I am God, like I can take your life at the second of time if I wanted to, like it's very much so that. So I feel like with Pluto moving into Aquarius, we've been talking about these themes, or have talked about these themes of the power moving from these systems and corporations. As you can see, a lot of shit is crumbling for a reason, and they've been scrambling to the power to the people. And collectively, this energy has, which they haven't televised a lot of this stuff, but you can definitely see it through media, that people are revolting, and we're going to start to see a lot of these different themes as we do move through this 2023 transit, and as we move into the coming years as well. Even Saturn and Pisces, to me, I know, like I said, I'll make a whole new video about Saturn and Pisces, and just my take on it, and some things that I've learned, from some other astrologers that I've been looking into, and just within the community, and just kind of seeing different themes play out like pre-shadow period and stuff. But it's definitely going to be some real changes. I kind of look at Pluto and Capricorn, I don't know, and I've talked about it in a couple of my other videos previously last year, but the Truman Show, right? So we have like this world, that has been kind of made up in the image of, okay, so this is how you're supposed to live, this is what you're supposed to do, this is the job that you're supposed to work, and now we are literally having that world that we once knew crumble before our eyes, and us having to really find out within ourselves, like, well, wow, what do I want in the structure, quote unquote, of my life? Or not even just the structure of my life, of what does my life look like now, versus what we seen in like the 2020 period. And even before 2020, there was a lot of shifts and changes happening. What are the communities that I want to be a part of and amongst? And it's because Saturnian energy is very authoritarian in its own right. A lot of situations being, I would say, with authority figures have been challenged, and not even just within the home, within relationships, bosses, like I said, corporations, things that basically are in a space of like, okay, so this is what I need for you to do, and I need you to do it, and if not, then you can go somewhere and kick rocks. Like, so, and there's more themes that definitely have played out, I feel like, within these transits and stuff like that, but that's just for an example of like what some of the things that we have been seeing in particular. And so I just feel like there is a revolution. It has been brewing for a long time. I think this revolution has been much needed, and I feel like it's just a really, really good time despite all the things that are going on around us and what we see. It's just an amazing and incredible time to be alive, an amazing, incredible time to be able to bear witness to these shifts that are happening globally, you know, within our own communities and also in greater communities of people that we don't even know, you know. So yeah, let me go ahead and get into this transit talkie real quick, and just what's going on in the month of January. I'm gonna go through the transits and then just kind of talk a little bit about each. So we have January 3rd, Venus enters into Aquarius. Oh my God, like I said, the revolution is brewing. So when Venus enters Aquarius, what I put down is like, what a time to be alive. The government powers, quote unquote, that be transferring over to the people. So Pluto, like we talked about before, is the energy. It's a cold, 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 cold planet. And what it does is it's very much so the energy of Scorpio. And what it does is it seeks to break things down that basically, I would say it's a sense of renewal. It's like the phoenix rising, right? So the phoenix going from the air into the ashes and pulling everything up that needs to be looked at, things that need to be fixed, things that need to be changed, and just burning and blazing anew. Now, sometimes this Plutonic energy or Scorpio energy can kind of go to the extreme of things. So that's definitely something that you definitely want to watch out for. One of the biggest things is, I don't know why I just started talking about Pluto again when I was talking about Venus and Aquarius, but here we are. Let me say, okay, I made a video about Pluto in Aquarius, but let me go back to Venus and Aquarius because we talked about that. Because like I said, I want to make another whole video about it, but let's just get back to the Venus. So rebellion is something that we'll be seeing a lot more people doing, is rebelling their point of views, rebelling in communities in which they stand in. You know, with this Mars and Gemini transits, we've seen I would say, tale of the two. I know I put tale of the two cities, but the tale of the two twin energy, where maybe one direction is going this way and the other direction is going that way, and we don't really know which way to go of things. And I talked about this a little bit in the previous videos that I had, but I really do feel like, you know, it's not going to be such a black and white decision making, right? But there is going to be a lot of people moving away from what they knew and what has been built in these cities, what has been built in these communities. A lot more people are going to be, I feel like, more tribal bound and things like that. So I think with this Venus in Aquarius transit, you will definitely see a lot more communal style living, mobile living, new technologies being brought to the forefront of people figuring out ways, especially with electricity, right? Because I talked about this and probably in a couple other videos too, where we were just talking about how Venus in Aquarius, or just the Aquarian energy, is electrifying. So we know that our internet is being controlled by, you know, being controlled by who is controlled by. And then also too, not only is our internet being controlled, but our air, right? So flying by air, modes of transportation and things like that have been governed by people that don't necessarily have our greatest interests at good. So you're going to see more communities coming together to create different modes of ways in which not only that we connect, but we're transportation, flying, even boating. You know, don't forget that Aquarius is, even though it's air, it's the water barrier. Talking about ways in which our natural resources are being used. I just think there would be more also to environmental conversations. And I know we sometimes leave that for Taurus and the earth signs, but I think scientifically, if we want to go into just that Aquarian energy, I think those are things that will definitely be talked about for sure. So more people engaging online, so more online communication. I don't know if y'all felt this kind of energy, especially with Mars being in Gemini and Gemini ruling the media, but also with Aquarius being an air sign as well. Just being addicted to our phones, or I would say spending more time on your phone than you usually do. And that's definitely purposefully done. But I would definitely say if you are spending extra time on your phone, if you can take a break, take a break. But also to putting stuff on your media and internet things like that you're scrolling that actually uplifts you, and then also that, but connecting to your tribe, like finding your tribe through the internet. You know what I mean? Like talking to people that kind of what you would say speak your language, and kind of have like maybe some of similar ideals, especially like I said when you think about this Aquarian energy. Ascension of the collective consciousness is something else that I put, because Aquarius rules the mind. It's the like I said, it's the internal. Also too, I like to think of the nerve system, even though I know that it has to do with other placements, but really when it rules like that electrifying energy that we're all sourcely connected to. I think about giving ourselves time and away from like different, like I said, electronics that can kind of dumb us down and numb us down a little bit. I don't know why a gold bath is coming to me. I don't know exactly how we get access to real gold, but or maybe even just imagining ourselves like washing ourselves in like gold or whatever, just to really cleanse the energy, covering up. And that's something I probably will have to start doing myself, but like covering up or putting our phones away when we're sleeping, putting our phones or our laptops and putting them away, and just sleeping without all the electronical distractions and things like that. Also too, Venus in Aquarius during this time, Uranus in Taurus is still retrograde, and I definitely want y'all to keep that in mind as well with these transits coming up. It'll be going direct this month as well, but Uranus in Taurus is still in retrograde on top of Venus being in Aquarius. So it can definitely be some changes, foundational changes within this. I feel like there is going to be a lot of foundational changes within this energy, but we'll get to that. The Cancer full moon does occur on January 6th. You definitely want to check the aspects on that. I'm not going to go too deeply into the aspects during this video. I just, like I said, I kind of just wanted to check in and go over the ingresses that will be going on during this year, or into the Capricorn Aquarius season. But we do have I feel like this Cancer season, no lie, is like a spiritual reset. I feel like I know we talk about the full moons and we talk about like cleansing, and I've talked about things like that and stuff like that, but I feel what I put down is the crab cleaning its shell. It's time to recollect and get organized. So I feel like this energy definitely has to do with the crab releasing its old shell, you know how crabs do, and moving on to a better shell that better suits the crab in the now, versus the old shell that didn't really protect the crab like it needed to. I do think because this is Capricorn season and we are kind of moving into this new 7-year cycle, I do feel like there is a great need to emotionally get organized with yourself. And I know we could say, oh, well, emotions are irrational. They don't necessarily have like, nobody's trying to necessarily put your emotions or anything in a box, but I think it's more so getting clear with yourself, getting clear with how you feel about things, and coming to terms with a lot of things, more so with this Cancer full moon on the 6th. Within a Capricorn season, right? So just getting clear, getting emotionally clear. If you need to write things out, if you need to make a song about it, if you need to scream about it, if you need to dance about it, if you need to stomp about it, if you need to go see therapy about it, go do it. And that's what I feel when I think of like this Cancer full moon coming in on the 6th. Is just what I say, organizing I don't even want to say organizing your emotions, because I don't think there's any such thing as organizing your emotions, but just getting a better understanding of what that looks like, and what your emotions and how they're affecting the things around you, and how they're like really sitting with you internally. So that's what I would say about the Cancer full moon. So just in a spiritual reset, you know what I mean? For sure. Nurturing yourself, filling your own cup is another thing that I put on here. Just really filling your own cup, getting your cups back, you know, because it never, you know, it's a never ending, ever flowing kind of energy, but just really getting your cups back full, really looking at like, well, what are the things that I need, and what are the things that I want? Because we talk a lot about Cancerian energy being the nurturer and being giving and things like that, but Cancer also, the best way for Cancer to be able to serve other people, and I just think that's for anybody anyway, but really for Cancerian energy being the moon, I really feel like you really do have to put that energy back into yourself. I'm not even trying to be on no cliche shit, really. Like, it really is some serious shit. Like, putting that energy back into yourself, filling that cup for you, and making sure that before you are out here giving this cup over here and putting this cup over here, and, you know, doing one of these numbers, like, well, where's my fill your own goddamn cup, okay? And that goes for every sign, and it's not even just Cancer. I'm just talking about the energy of this Cancerian moon is just like, fill your cup. That way, when you are out there doing the chosen work that you came here to do, it is not only physically fulfilling for you, but it's emotionally fulfilling for you, it's spiritually fulfilling for you. It's a full plate with the cups. Okay, so let's do that collectively together, right? Allowing your subconscious self to come to the forefront. And then I definitely put check to see if Pluto Capricorn is aspecting, which, like I said, I didn't really go deeply into the aspects of the moon or any of these transits for real. I just kind of wanted to speak on the ingresses and what was going on. But yeah, with the moon energy, I feel like there's going to be a lot of things coming up for people, a lot of like self-realizations, just like having those moments of like, damn, I really have been through a lot of shit. I really have been in these different spaces, and, you know, and allow those things to come up. Journal about it if you have to, you know what I mean? Like, really allow yourself to have like that time to really sit with your emotions, process your emotions, instead of avoiding or trying to avoid and escape those things. Now, Neptune is still in Pisces, but like I said, once Saturn moves into Pisces next year, is gonna be like a pulling back. Like, Saturn is not gonna allow you to escape those things. So you might as well go ahead and deal with it now, says Capricorn, says Saturn. You might as well go ahead and deal with it now, so you don't have to worry about the heaviness and the gunk of pulling the weight up off you during these next 3 years with Saturn and Pisces. Like I said, there's still gonna be things that you're gonna have to go through. Like, there's no avoiding that, but just so you can make it a little bit easier on yourself is really like get into the nitty gritty of what has come up, you know, and what is gonna come up for sure. Mars in Gemini. Good Lord, mighty oh Jesus. All right, so Mars in Gemini. I hope y'all have had a wonderful time here, coming from a Mars in Gemini herself. It has been crazy, has it not been? Real crazy. A lot of, especially with the retrograde period, it will be going direct January 18th. And that will be the 7th house for the US. So we talked about relationships being on brand, as they say, as the kids say nowadays. But relationships being in a conundrum. That goes for family matters. That goes for relationships at work, romantic relationships, platonic relationships. It's just been a lot going on there, right? So I feel like with Mars and Gemini, because it's such a Speedy Gonzalez kind of energy, when it is direct, the retrograde kind of frustrated the Mars and Gemini energy even more, because it had to slow that Mars and Gemini energy. So with the quickness, where Mars and Gemini already kind of is talking, sometimes can be a little bit argumentative, with the words and the verbal banter back and forth. It's had to slow that energy down all the way, all the way. So I think one biggest thing, like, it's a couple things that I have on here, but I think one of the biggest things that I definitely would say for this transit is definitely take stock on how you have reacted in certain situations. Now, I said Mars and Gemini is doing different things for everybody. You definitely want to look at your chart to see where Mars and Gemini has been playing out. But definitely take stock of how you have reacted in these past couple months with Mars being in Gemini to certain situations with people. Has it shifted from the time it started last year? Is there anything that you can say that might have been different in the way that you approach situations with Mars and Gemini? Did you feel yourself getting hot in certain houses with this Mars and Gemini placement? Like I said, wherever it's playing out and aspecting in your chart, how has this Mars and Gemini transit? If it's any transit on here that I would love to hear from y'all about, is really this Mars and Gemini transit for real, because we're gonna have this until the Mars moves into Taurus, like in the better half of the year. I think it might be April, but don't quote me on it. I have to look back at the transits and stuff like that. But I want y'all to comment below and tell me how it's played out for you, because I know it was a whirlwind for me. I know it was a whirlwind for me. I know it was a whirlwind for me. Like, it was such a whirlwind for me that I needed time to just be. Like, for real. That's why I'm now coming over here after a year, even though it hasn't been in a year, but I just needed some time. So y'all let me know how it's been for you. But I said, what have you learned so far during this transit retrograde period so far? Things are constantly changing and shifting and will continue to do so. And if it's another goddamn thing that the Mars and Gemini transit has shown us, is that things are always constantly shifting. Even when we want things to be somewhat stable or needing these ground on our feet and things like that, it's one thing to, I even say craving stability or security. But honestly, it just made me think in my mind, even prior to this transit, like, what does that even really mean, though? What does stability and security really even mean when things are constantly shifting and moving? I think it's more of an internal feeling than it is an external feeling, right? And I feel like with Mars energy, it is very external. So knowing that in your waking life, there is nothing that will ever be stable. Like, change is a constant. But internally, you can feel a sense of peace. I think it's practicing those verses like, yeah, I need, security and stability. Because it's like, you can really lose all this stuff at the drop of a hat. You feel me? Like, you can really lose all this stuff around you at a drop of a hat. It can literally go by. But the only person that can be, I would say, in more of a stable situation with yourself is you. That's it. Everything else is constantly changing. So keeping that in mind, especially with Mars and Gemini. There's been a restlessness also too. I think we all have realized that there has been things rumbling under the surface for quite a bit sometimes. So there can be a restlessness, and has been a restlessness to this kind of energy of like not understanding or not knowing when the next shoe is going to drop. So I feel like people have kind of been like on the edge with this Mars and Gemini energy. Like, I don't know if it's going to, so that's another thing that I've definitely hooked on. Social media was another thing. And we talked about that a little bit with Venus in Aquarius and moving into Aquarius. Media distractions. What I say, something like a runaround is what I put for the Mars and Gemini transit. And oh boy, has it been a distraction. Also, Mars and Gemini. Never really getting not always, but never really finishing or getting to the point, right? But always kind of keeping you in a loop to keep you hooked onto the things. Like I said, Gemini and Pisces rule the media. Neptune is currently in Pisces. Mars is in Gemini. Saturn is about to be in Pisces. So just imagine the media games that have been played, whether you subconsciously see it your day to day, you can see it on billboards, you can see it in your radio when they're putting out ads, on your phones when they're putting out ads. There's different things that come up on your algorithm, the different things that, like, once you say something and now it's popping up on your phone, things that keep you hooked on your phone to keep scrolling and I mean, when I tell you the distractions are real, honey, the distractions are real. So I think, like I was saying before, with that internal stability, having that with yourself, and also discernment of what's actually real, what's the real, and what is a fake ass truth. I think it's really keeping that in mind, especially when it comes to not only this world that we're currently in, but the world that we're currently moving into, especially with AI and technology. And we'll talk a little bit about that on different videos coming out, but really keeping that into consideration when we're talking about like basically not believing everything. What did they say? Not believing everything what you hear, more what you see, or believing not believing everything that you see, more what you hear, or it's the opposite, believing more than what you hear and what you see, something like that. Y'all could quote me on it when we y'all go down to the comments. But it's that if the spirit is telling you, your spirit is telling you that something is off, once again, like I say all the time, y'all, probably because it is. You know what I mean? So just keeping that in mind when you're seeing different social media or just seeing stuff on your TV screen, hearing stuff from people, situations and stuff like that. And I don't want y'all to become like skeptics and like peeking around corners like, is this? It's not even that. Just trust yourself to know that you'll know. And if you don't know, then you'll find out, right? All right. And like I said, you pay attention to your body signature, because your spirit will tell you when something is completely off, for sure. Okay, Mercury direct in Capricorn. Oh, how I love this energy. I really do. Especially when it comes to getting shit done. Jupiter in Aries, like I said, will support these action steps, because Jupiter in Aries is the pioneer. It kind of starts things off, right? And Capricorn gives you the structure to see it through, to ground it and put it into reality, right? So strategizing a plan, you know. I know down the line it can be really hard to sit with yourself and be like, oh, what is a year gonna look like for me? What is 5 years gonna look like for me? What is 10 years? Especially after we just got done talking about how you never really know what's gonna be what and things like that. But even if those plans do change, it is about having a specific plan and goal in mind, even if those things do shift. You know, everything else will be a literal pipe clanking together like this, ding ding ding, if there is no goals, you know, or actions to support those goals and plans that you are trying to move yourself into. Exercising and nutrition will be a major thing in these coming months, not even just with Capricorn and Aquarius season. Another thing that I want to talk about is a lot of these fake foods, 3D printers, those things that are coming out. So I would definitely recommend, if you can, even if it's a small, tiny garden in your windowsill, or if you have a place to just garden or something like that in your neighborhood or something like that, or wherever you're at, planting your own food, growing your own food, sharing your own food is another thing. Like, for sure, sharing and growing, for sure, just some healthy foods and stuff like that, because food shortages, quote unquote, and everything else that can come with, you know, a lot of this stuff going on. So Mercury will see that stuff through long term, and it will, like I said, give you the not only the goal in mind, but the action steps to take those steps to make sure that the goal is grounded in what it needs to be grounded in and pushed forward. Sun in Aquarius, January 21st. New moon in Aquarius, January or Sun in Aquarius January 20th, New Moon in Aquarius January 1st. Get excited. I said get excited within the chaos is what I put on that particular transit. It's electric because we are electric. New technology being created and formed, and like I said before with the Venus and Aquarius transit, that's something to definitely look out for. Wires of communication can be thrown off, and maybe a seed, maybe planting the seed with connecting with your soul tribe. So I really do, especially with Pluto and Aquarius, think that we're gonna have a lot more. We've had them over the years, especially 2020. We was hearing a lot about them, 2021, even this year. But I think there's going to be a lot more electrical issues, electricity being tampered with, a lot more of that going on, especially Uranus is in Taurus still too, with this strong Saturnian and Uranian energy in the air. I just think it's just bound to happen. So I would definitely, not trying to fearmonger like I was be saying, but like I would definitely just make sure that you start getting like, just in case of an emergency, like in case the power did shut off, in case you needed to like really dash at the drop of a hat, you have everything that you need to just pick everything up, put it in a bag, and go. And this is something I'm saying to y'all as I'm saying to myself, because that's definitely something that I haven't had in the back burner to do, but just making sure that you have that on deck, and just slowly building pantries, building like I said, that emergency kit just in case something were to happen, for sure. Uranus in Taurus goes direct January 22nd. With Uranus and Taurus direct and the Sun, Moon, and Aquarius, like I said, talks about our internet and global electrical sources. So I feel like a lot more of those things will be on the forefront of our year, and more people talking about how, especially the more we see power outages, there's going to be a lot more people that are already doing it, I feel like, behind the scenes, but building on our technology, building on our electrical energy sources, and what that looks like and what that means for the collective as a whole. I feel like not only new technology is going to be popping up out of nowhere, but I feel like new ways of internet connection and sources will also be popping up out of nowhere as well. So definitely want to take a look at that. And even if you're, want to kind of start looking into like what that would look like for you. I know there's probably not a lot of information out on the internet per se about it, but I would definitely look into it for sure, just to see what you can like dig up and find with this internet connectivity, and also electricity outlets as well. Venus in Pisces, and this is the last thing I want to go over, and then I will conclude this bad joint. Is it a chat going on? Are y'all chatting? I don't know. If y'all are chatting, what's up? I've just been kind of talking, just checking back in with y'all and stuff like that. But hey, y'all. Venus and Pisces will be moving from Aquarius. It will be entering also to, I think it's January 26th. I didn't put the date, but I think January 26th is when it's entering Pisces with Neptune there. Yeah, can you imagine? So I do feel like there will be a lot of enhancements in psychic abilities. Like I said before, spiritual practices. With Saturn moving into Pisces, Saturn is going to want to crystal your spiritual and psychic abilities. Okay? And I say this to say, you might start seeing things, okay, that you never seen before. There might be not only premonitions that happen, we talk about the dreamscape and the dream world, but you might start tapping into things that you probably just haven't seen. And I know it's easier said than done to be like, okay, don't be shaking when you see it. Like, don't be shaking when you, it's not even that. It's just understanding that there are going to be things that do come up if you are open to it. If you are not open to it and you're like, I don't want to see, I don't want y'all, then that's another thing for another time. It's just not your time. But for those that are open and receptive to spirits and beings and deities and seeing, souls, and it will really, seriously be an open portal for that. The veil is thinning, and thinning as we speak. And I just feel like there is a lot more, not only at the surface, but at the bottom of the water, that will start to reveal itself to the people. And I just think we should all just take just take wind of it. Also, a lot of talks about building boats, right? Building boats, traveling within boats, or traveling with on the water, and what that looks like too, I think will be on a big discussion, because who's to say if something did happen, where will we be able to go? I do feel like this next year also too is because the North Node is in Aries, this pioneering energy will be vast. New territory will be explored. New places that we've never seen. It might not be visible to the mass audience, but trust me, your soul tribes, not saying this is going to happen for everybody, but trust and believe people are going to be coming up on some new land, okay? Ain't no Christopher Columbus here. All right, it's just going to be us in them trenches finding new places to plot land, okay? Really. And because because it is a fire North Node, is going to be a lot of movement, a lot of restlessness once again, especially with Mars and Gemini still there. Mars and Taurus will be moving as well too. And even though Taurus is more of like, it isn't fixed energy within the fire Mars, that's still the energy of movement in its own pace, in its own way. You know what I mean? Like I said, and Taurus also rules, as well as Capricorn rules, the land. So it's finding charting new, territory and things like that. Like I said, I'll get into those transits as we go. But yeah, Venus and Pisces, excess and escapism is something I put. Medium consumption, animals in response to the earth and dream states. I don't know if y'all have seen those videos with all these different animals like circling different parts of the world and going in circles, from the sheep to the hawks to the crows to the ants, to like all of them are making like little circles of trends. I don't know what is going on, and I won't talk about it here, but paying attention to the animals, and not just the fake camera animals, but the real animals that are speaking to our society in ways in which are, I would say, not necessarily forewarning us, but kind of giving us a glimpse as to what is going to be or could occur in these new times. Like I said, media consumption, especially with Venus and Pisces, drugs. I think I didn't even mention that with Venus in Aquarius, but I feel like new drugs are going to be introduced with Venus in Aquarius, or at least when Pluto goes into Aquarius. Basically, the rise and fall of the drugs, and people wanting or searching for spiritual ascension, or mentors and people that can kind of guide them through their healing and stuff like that. And before we conclude this, I just want to say this before Pluto does go into Aquarius and we're experiencing the Saturn and Pisces energy. Y'all, be careful of the hive. And when I don't even want to disrespect the bees. You feel me? Like, I don't even want to disrespect the damn bees. But like, it's not even about the bees. It's just be careful of the cult, not a cult, but the cult mind groups and organizations that are springing up. Like, we don't want another Jim Jones, okay? Like, just, and if that's what you feel like, no, not even gonna say that. Not even gonna go into that. All I'm saying is, be careful of those kind of like groups and organizations that will exist, okay? If, like I said before, if it does not sit well with your spirit, just don't do it. I think the energy with this Saturnian energy moving over, like I said, from Capricorn into Aquarius, and even though Capricorn and Aquarius both do have like that organizational kind of energy when it comes to like collective groups and working with other people and things like that, I think it's really honoring that Jupiter in Aries also too a North Node in Aries is like you can be your own individual and still thrive amongst the group. I'm gonna say that again before we conclude this. You can be your own individual and still thrive amongst the group. Okay? So I just want everybody to keep that in mind as we move through not only this Capricorn Aquarius season, but throughout the year. You know, that we are limitless beings. No matter what you've been told, no matter what you've seen and what you hear, we're limitless beings. There is nothing, absolutely nothing in this dimension that you cannot have, that you cannot experience. It's just about having that realized perspective shift and sticking to it. You know, really sticking to what you know. And if you don't know, take some time to explore and find out. You know, and as you're going through those experiences, and as you're meeting new people, and as you're creating these new memories, things will reveal itself just how it's supposed to. So that's all I have, folks. I will be dropping, and I should have put that at the beginning, but I will be dropping a Capricorn season. I would say a Capricorn Aquarius season, but a Capricorn season workbook kind of guide journal that you can actually download on the website. I will be dropping that actually on the 1st of January. So if you want to like basically, you know, write and journal like some of the experiences that you've had through these transits. It has a little information about the transits and Capricorn season in itself. And also too, when you do that guide, you could come back to kind of go back through like each of the transits and what that means, and then it'll give you like a prompt of, you know, just a writing prompt of, you know, what you have experienced during this time. So I just want to thank everybody who's come through, who's kind of peeked on. It's so exciting to be, I'm so excited to be back doing this. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. We're going to get into that Saturn return, baby, because god damn, okay? God damn. Bless. Saturn Aquarius gang, bless. Bless. You already know. If you don't know by now what we're here for, Saturn Aquarius, ask somebody, because goddamn, we here for some real ass work. Pluto, Scorpio generation, stand up. Okay, but yeah, y'all. I'm gonna, like I said, I'll definitely be doing monthlies here. I'll be making my way, forging my way in the TikTok world. As always, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can hit me up at araneaestorm.wix.com/info. And yeah, I'll see y'all later. Deuce. Wait, how do I stop this for real? Hold on. How this? Okay. Deuces for real.